How far are fighters willing to go to secure a win in the high-pressure world of mixed martial arts? What happens when the pursuit of victory pushes athletes to bend or even break the rules? And how have these moments of deception and cunning impacted the integrity of the sport and the careers of the fighters involved? In today's video, we're uncovering the darker side of MMA, exploring 10 infamous instances where fighters in the UFC took a walk on the wild side, bending the rules to their advantage. Welcome to the MMA Mayhem. Subscribe and let's dive in. These moments where fighters seemingly got away with pushing the boundaries reveal the multifaceted nature of combat sports, where victory and defeat are not solely determined by physical prowess, but also the mastery of tactics, ethics, and the art of skirting the rulebook. Join us as we explore these intriguing instances that blur the line between fair competition and the darker corners of the fight game. 10. Daniel Cormier, UFC 210. In a classic display of old-school rule-bending, Daniel Cormier managed to outsmart the scales during his bout against Anthony "Rumble" Johnson. Cormier, who was visibly struggling to make weight, initially weighed in at 206.2 pounds, exceeding the 205 pounds limit. In a surprising turn of events, he reappeared just 2 minutes later and miraculously weighed in at the acceptable limit. The secret behind this apparent weight loss wizardry? Cormier discreetly employed a time-tested trick. He strategically pushed down on a nearby towel, subtly reducing his recorded weight and narrowly avoiding a financial penalty. This crafty maneuver highlighted the lengths to which fighters are willing to go to secure an edge in the world of MMA. 9. Jermaine Durry, UFC 208. Discussing the contentious victory of Dutch fighter Jermaine Durry, it became evident that rules sometimes bend in favor of the clever. In a historic match against Holly Holm for the title of UFC's first ever female featherweight champion, Durry pushed the boundaries. Despite the standard practice of stopping at the bell, she landed blows on Holm after the second and third rounds. The act against the rules could have cost her the fight if points were deducted. However, this calculated risk ultimately paid off, and she secured the win by decision. 8. Anderson Silva, UFC 148. In the highly anticipated UFC 148 clash in 2012, Anderson Silva faced off against Chael Sonnen. Sonnen, a renowned wrestler, posed a significant ground threat, while Silva was famed for his striking abilities. To mitigate Sonnen's ground dominance, Silva resorted to a cunning tactic. He repeatedly grabbed Sonnen's shorts, a clear foul, to impede takedown attempts. Despite a verbal warning from referee Yves Levine for this blatant infringement, Silva managed to escape point deduction. Ultimately, Silva's maneuvers, though controversial, proved effective, allowing him to secure a victory in the match. 7. Li Jingang, UFC 221. In the intense clash at UFC 221 against Jake Matthews, Chinese welterweight fighter Li Jingliang demonstrated his aggressive style. While Matthews had him in a guillotine hold, Jingliang resorted to an eye-gouging tactic to break free. This blatant foul involved inserting his fingers into Matthews' eyes, a move not permissible within the sport's rules. Surprisingly, the referee, Lee Simpson, didn't take any punitive action against the clear violation. Jingliang's cunning move allowed him to escape the hold, although it didn't secure him a victory in the fight. Ultimately, justice prevailed as Matthews emerged victorious in the match, despite the controversial tactics used by Jingliang. 6. Bryan Caraway, UFC Fight Night 42. In a rare and controversial move during his fight against Eric Perez at UFC Fight Night 42, Bryan Caraway utilized a fishhook, an unusual foul in mixed martial arts. In an attempt to gain an advantage, Caraway inserted his hand into Perez's mouth while attempting to secure a chokehold. Surprisingly, the referee didn't detect this foul play during the match. The backlash against Caraway was significant, particularly because in the subsequent round, he managed to secure the chokehold for real. This led to doubts about the legitimacy of the fishhook in the first round, with many believing it was deliberate and unsportsmanlike tactic to gain an edge over his opponent. 5. Josh Koscheck, UFC 106 and 113. In a brazen act at UFC 106, Anthony Johnson seemingly kneed Josh Koscheck, who was considered a downed opponent. However, upon closer review, it was revealed that Koscheck had deceptively pretended to be in a vulnerable position to draw the knee strike. He used this rule to his advantage, later winning the match by a rear naked choke. This sly maneuver resurfaced in Koscheck's fight against Paul Daley at UFC 113, where he employed a similar tactic. Feigning a grounded position, he provoked Daley, causing an explosive altercation after the match. While Daley faced consequences for his actions, Koscheck managed to evade punishment for his deceitful behavior, showcasing the complex and sometimes controversial nature of the sport. 4. Yel Romero, UFC 178. During UFC 178, Yel Romero faced a challenging moment after the first round against Tim Kennedy. Battling a cut over his eye, Romero took his time returning to the fight for the second round. This pause raised concerns about the excessive use of Vaseline on his face, prompting referee John McCarthy to intervene. Meanwhile, an impatient Kennedy expressed his frustration at the delay. Despite the interruption, Romero returned to the fight and turned the tables, eventually achieving a knockout victory over his American adversary. This incident shed light on the importance of vigilance and regulation in ensuring a fair and safe environment within the highly competitive realm of UFC. 3. Jose Aldo, UFC 142. In a high-stakes bout against Chad Mendes, renowned for his wrestling prowess, Jose Aldo faced a significant challenge. Mendes aimed to take Aldo down, utilizing his wrestling skills, particularly in the first round. However, Aldo resorted to a blatant illegal maneuver by grabbing the fence to prevent the takedown. Had Mendes succeeded, the course of MMA history could have altered dramatically. Fortunately for Aldo, he escaped any penalties or repercussions, ultimately securing victory in the fight. This incident showcases the strategic lengths fighters might go to in the pursuit of success within the MMA arena and emphasizes the critical role referees play in enforcing the rules and ensuring fair play. 2. Rousimar Palhares, World Series of Fighting 22. Brazilian fighter Rousimar Palhares gained a notorious reputation for his questionable tactics inside the MMA cage. Despite facing consequences for holding submissions beyond acceptable limits in previous fights, Palhares' controversial actions persisted. During his World Series of Fighting 22 bout against Jake Shields, who displayed superior wrestling skills, Palhares resorted to raking Shields' eyes multiple times. These actions were aimed at gaining an advantage by disrupting Shields' dominance in the fight. Despite receiving warnings from the referee, Palhares faced no immediate consequences for his eye-gouging tactics. This incident raises concerns about enforcing fair play and sportsmanship within the realm of MMA, shedding light on the need for stringent penalties to deter such unethical actions in the future. 1. Jon Jones, almost every fight. Jon Jones, a highly regarded MMA fighter, is often hailed for his exceptional skills, but also infamous for his pushing the boundaries of the rules. Renowned for his remarkable reach, Jones frequently employs fouls during fights, justifying them as attempts to control range. Notably, he faced controversy for a 12-6 elbow against Matt Hamill, resulting in a loss. Despite numerous instances of using illegal techniques such as eye gouging, Jones has managed to avoid losing directly due to these actions. His adeptness at utilizing what some term as the dark arts showcases the thin line between strategic aggression and rule infringement in MMA, sparking discussions regarding the enforcement of fair play and adherence to regulations in the sport. While the sport maintains strict regulations and vigilant referees, the allure of gaining an edge often leads fighters to attempt rule-breaking tactics. From eye gouging to exploiting vulnerabilities in the heat of battle, the list of forbidden maneuvers is extensive. Despite the close watch of the referee, some fighters demonstrate creative cunning in sidestepping the rules. A classic example is the renowned MMA athlete Yel Romero. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Follow for more.